Okay, the Japanese Language Proficiency Test, or JLPT, is a standardized test to evaluate Japanese language proficiency for non-native speakers. There are 4 levels of the test, N1 being the most difficult and N5 being the most elementary. This test is divided into 5 sections: kanji, which are the Chinese characters in Japanese language, vocabulary, grammar, reading, and listening. In the grammar part of the N1, there are about 120 expressions for the learner to memorize. In this project, we created an app to help the students to prepare themselves for the grammar part. When the user inputs an expression from the Dictionary of Japanese Expressions and Grammar for Everyday Use, the app gives the user the English translation, examples of usage, and how many times it occurred in the tests between 1991 to 2011. In order to do so, we first compiled the JLPT test from this time range in a text file. We then looked for the grammar expressions from the dictionary using the software Nkong in order to find how many times the expression appeared in the test over time. This frequency account, along with other information, was compiled in a CSV file, which was then converted online to a JSON file. I, Marco, did this part that I just described. Then I acted mostly as an observer, while Corey acted as a driver, doing most of the coding part.
Our project contains the class main activity, which contains 3 methods. The first method, called onCreate, which essentially creates a search bar and a search button that receives input from a user. The second method, called getJSON, sets up our code to parse our data, and it returns a string that was analyzed later. The third method, called search, properly sets up the layout and corresponds to our data. Within our JSON file, the string is broken down into 5 parts, them being expression, meaning, frequency, example, and example translation. The search method accesses the information corresponding to the key and returns its value. Within our if statement, we access the ID to the corresponding text box within our layout view. Next, let's check out our app working. We choose a random phrase from the dictionary that we could use as an example. We click the search button on the search bar and input the phrase. Once we click search, the meaning in English will appear, along with an example of usage in both Japanese and English. The larger text at the bottom displays how many times the expression appeared in the JLPT between 1991 and 2011.
If the user were to search for a phrase not found in the dictionary, a message would be displayed under the search bar reading invalid input. Through MP7, we faced many difficulties that we were able to overcome. As beginner coders, we had to understand how to properly import images, size them, and name them. It wasn't clear at first that simple problems can come from capitalizing a file name. After much researching, questioning, and tinkering, we were able to determine that changing the app from Project View to Android View could open new windows we didn't know existed. After being able to upload our images, we faced the obstacles of importing the JSON library. This library allows us to parse our data in JSON format. We had to learn quickly how to use the resources around us like Google, TAs, CAs, and friends. After we were able to understand the difference between Project View and Android View, we were then able to import dependencies that our app required for JSON. This app can be improved as follows. We can add other parts of the tests. The current app only covers the grammar portion. We could also add more recent tests. Moreover, we would like to develop an interface that looks more professional. Regardless, this is an extremely useful tool for students who are preparing themselves for the JLPT. This was an original project that was posted to GitHub under Corey's account.